Yo, what is up? It's Cloverdale. We're back, up all night, track breakdown. We are at the final stage. At this point, we've already covered the drums. You can check the first video out here. We've covered the kick and the bass. It's over here. And then lastly, we just did the leads and the effects and some of my energy techniques. And now we're moving on to the vocals. Listen to Baba's voice here. Woo! Hell yeah. All right, before we get going, if you guys want, slam the subscribe button. I got a bunch of new content coming out all the time, and I'd love for you guys to kind of join along the ride. Okay, so vocals. This song, I had actually written the whole song with another sample first, and that is because I actually use vocals as a integral part in my writing process. I love kind of chopping up vocals and figuring out where they fit, and I find they lend themselves. They give a ton of energy to the track. They always make it feel a little bit more hype and organic and something for your brain to sing along to and latch on to. I think the human brain loves the sound of the human voice, and so I love stuffing my tracks full of a bunch of vocals, even if they're just beds or textures or whatever. And so, yeah, originally this track had been written with a sample. I wish I had the sample here, but I don't. So, but I didn't want to use the sample, right? We're in 2022 now. I feel like I'm trying to better myself as an artist, and so I figured let's do this shit right, and let's reach out to the folks and actually get a vocalist on here. I'm so glad we did, because the track is infinitely better than it was before with the sample, and now we got our own shit, and I got a new friend, Baba, no baby. He's actually a vocalist here in my hometown that I just knew that he was a guy here in town that was rapping, and his voice was pretty good, and so I just sent him a message and was like, hey, man, I got this song. I like at this point, I actually kind of already had known that it was going to be signed, and so I was like, it's already signed. I just want to get a dope new vocal on it, and so hit him up, and he came over literally the next day, and we did this all kind of in one day, and here we are. So my advice to you guys is, if you're really struggling to find vocals, if you don't know what you're after or what to do, is get on Instagram or go out to some rap shows in your town or whatever, and try and reach out to some local folks in your town, in your city, that you can meet up with in person and actually form a relationship with and form a connection with, and that then you can work together and collaborate on a song, versus if you're just DMing someone on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, who lives in nowhere, and they have no connection to you, and they don't know you, they have no reason to work on your music. Those people I found can be way flakier than, hey, here's someone that I actually know. We actually have some mutual connections. We're from the same town. We're kind of doing the same thing. That you're going to get a lot more, I think, I don't know, especially if you're just starting out. It's just, it can be more beneficial. All right, end of rant. Let's talk about the vocal. So, first drop here. So, as you can see, it's kind of a bunch of chops from a bunch of different takes. And basically, he came over, he ran it a bunch. If you guys haven't used Ableton's take lanes, check this out. You can go in here and go show take lanes or insert take lanes. And what this does is, when you're recording, say you loop a section, right? Which is what we did, right? I just looped, say, these 4 bars. And a lot of these takes I've deleted, but there should be some somewhere. Oh, here we are. So, say these 4 bars are what I looped, and I just had this on loop while it was recording. It will play once, and then it'll record that, and it'll record another one, and then it'll record another one, and then it'll record another one. And so what you can do there is you can just have your vocalist just keep recording the same line over and over and over again. And then after, the session is done, you can go in and decide, okay, wait, I like this little bit, and I like this little bit, and I like this little bit, and you can move them all up and just pick which ones of the takes you like by listening here, and you can kind of cycle them, and then you can copy selection to main lane, and it moves up there. So that's what I did in order to kind of figure out which takes I liked, and that took some time figuring out which ones worked best. And then also I would have gone in and manually warped each little beat. And this is something that I do all the time with absolutely all my songs. And you can create so many cool little grooves and rhythms just by moving around where the beats are, right? So just move these around, try to find a rhythm or a groove, and try to lock your vocals rhythm in with the rhythm of your track. And that's super huge, especially if you're dealing with more like rappy percussive vocals. So I would have gone in and done that, and then here, let me hide these take lanes. They're slightly distracting. After I kind of warped them so that they were kind of on beat, and his original vocal would sound, I don't know if I can pull this up. Okay, so here's one of the lines.
We been up all night, eyes roll back, puffin', smoking that nice shit.
So that's one of the lines. It's a little glitchy because I have it running through the sidechain, and there's some processing on the group. However, so took out little bits of this, and I was like, okay, I want this, and you'll also see I've taken out little blips here and here and here and here and here. And that I did much later. I kind of had another version of the track that was just sort of his vocal without all these glitches and stuff. And I was like, this is sounding cool, but I was like, how can I make this even cooler? How can I spice it up after I have at least, his sort of regular vocal warped? And that's when I, decided to glitch it out. And the glitching out process is so simple. So all you really do, in this bit here, so I just take a little blip here, like say that, just put it here, create fades on either side, and then just duplicate it. That's all that is. It's just, and same here. I just took this little blip of that and duplicated it across, and then there's a filter that opens here. So you see this filter opens.
Smoking that nice shit.
This here.
Nice shit.
I just, took this, duplicated, fades, created some fades here, and that's just kind of creates that gating effect. Same here.
That music, baby, go stupid. Tell me.
Here, this bit, instead of duplicating, I just took this, and if you just drag down, it'll kind of make it its own little thing. And take this, drag down, take this, drag down, and I just gated it. So I'm not actually duplicating there. I'm actually just kind of gating by creating these little fades.
Stupid, tell me you.
That kind of sounds kind of cool.
Stupid, tell me you. Stupid, tell me you like.
So that's how all the glitching worked. I have some, this is the panning. So it actually at certain points pans left and right. So here it goes. So it's back and forth between the R's. That is all how the glitching's been done. So many people have messaged me asking, what plugin did you use? What effects and stuff? How did you get it to glitch out like that? And it is manually. And it's going to sound the best. I've tried other plugins. I've tried doing it with LFO Tool or different other ways, and it just sounds the best when you have full control of manually doing it that way. Okay, let's talk about the processing on this one. So we have the FabFilter de-esser. In this one, basically, you can set your frequency range here. And I recommend manually setting up a de-esser, right? Because each input signal is going to be different no matter what you're recording on, right? So here it says, okay, where's that sound? Where's the sound that I don't like? And this is the frequency range. So you try and figure that out. And you can actually hit this audition if you want. And this is basically just showing us, basically allowing us to find those harsh sounds. The threshold is saying, if it goes above this line, duck it. And this is saying how much it should duck it by. If I did it like a ton. Oh, it is doing it a ton.
Smoking that nice shit.
Oh, yeah, it's really going. Go stupid, tell me you like. So it's really ducking out some of those harsh ones by quite a bit. Almost 20 dBs. Look at it go. All right. And I just did that kind of by ear to taste. I'm realizing now that it's kind of aggressive, but that's what I thought sounded good. And I trust myself. Trust your ears. If that is what sounds great, that's what sounds great. I use the RVox for some compression. I'm kind of constantly just using the RVox and the CLA. And you know why? It's because these are what I have and these are what I learned. And I know that I could probably spend a lot more time processing vocals. However, these sound fine to me. And so here we are. Yeah, so just RVox, CLA, basically compressing it a ton. Here, I would have dialed in these knobs in particular because these are kind of EQ knobs. Basically, EQ, basically a high end and a low end, right? So you want to make sure that those are into taste. I kept the reverb here, which is a strange move, but I did. Versus if I had like a reverb much later on. But yeah, I decided to keep the reverb. Sounded great, so whatever. I also added some stereo width to that as well. Afterwards, Decapitator adds a bunch of dirt stuff onto it, some little drive, some distortion. Let's listen to before and after on some of this stuff. So let's start with... oh no.
Roll back, puffy smoke.
All right, that's good. Okay, so let's A/B some of this stuff. So the RVox is pulling it up tons. So that's without it, with it. So that's doing a ton of the heavy lifting and compressing. Same with the CLA. Without it. Doing some of the presence and squashing it even more. The Decapitator is adding... It's adding that sound. It makes it sound like it's kind of coming out of an amplifier. It's dirtying it up, a little bit of distortion in the high end. I actually tuned it a little bit using the brightness knob here. And some more EQ work, sculpting it. This compression, multi-band compression, I'm just trying to duck out a few little areas that I felt were popping out a little bit. And so there I literally just kind of used it like an EQ and was like, is this the area I kind of want to duck out? And there we go. Figured out this is the one. And I said, I want to duck it out this much, right? That's how that's happening. This is the frequency. This is how much you want to duck it out by. And there we go. So, moving on. Lastly, and we talked about this in the leads video as well, I have this delay on here. And this is a really fun effect. When you have a delay and you have these set, instead of these being locked to the beats, you have them set to time. You could set the time really, really short. So 20 milliseconds here. And it'll make it sound kind of like this robotic thing. So also sounds super stereo. So it's like a robotic stereo. And why it sounds extra stereo is because these numbers aren't linked. If you have this on and these are linked, it's going to sound a little less stereo. But as soon as I move these, basically the right is delayed by 24, the left is delayed by 19. It's kind of like the Haas effect. Is what that's called as well. But if you have them that high, 19 and 24, it almost sounds very metallic-y and stereo. And I automate the dry wet at times there because I think there's a certain part. Oh yeah, it's right here. You can really hear the effect. So that real robotic-y delay is coming from that there. And I still have a little bit on at all times. It then runs into this group, which, wow, another RVox just doing a little bit of final compression on the whole thing. Not even really doing much. And soothe, which is just, ducking out any more further harsh frequencies that might be in there. I had him come in and record some doubles as well, just on a couple lines.
Like this. Vibing.
So just a few lines here and there. Throughout the build up here, these are all kind of delayed out. And so I have, where is the delay that's, I think it's the Echo Boy. Right? Oh gosh. Oh no, it's here. It's this delay. So this delay here is automating on just so that certain elements kind of come and turn on. And I like to, the best way to automate a delay is to not use the dry wet. Have it turn on and off. And so why I did that, let me just show you. If I had instead just used the dry wet and say I wanted to get just this is vibe bin, and I was just going vibe bin, 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 vibe bin, 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 versus vibe bin, vibe bin, vibe bin, which isn't really what I wanted. And if you just do the dry wet, this here is still gone through the delay. So listen. I'm not getting the bin, bin, bin. It's because the delay was technically still on, and then you're kind of just turning the dry wet up. But if you have it off, listen. So that's kind of the better way to automate delays is to turn them on and off versus just using the dry wet. Okay, that is the bulk of what I got to show you with the vocals. Don't overthink them. Figure out kind of what works. The other major thing, actually, holy shit, can't forget this. It also all runs to this. It's called light. So you know how I have my sidechain bus at the top? I have another sidechain bus down here that is basically just a lighter version of sidechain, right? So I like to have my vocals pumping with my drums and my kick and have it bouncing. You can still make them out totally clear, but just a little bit of pump is going to help in the final mastering stages, in the final mix stages, for a couple of reasons. One, the kick is super loud, and you want your kick to be super loud. And so it's going to be tough to kind of have anything else playing at the same time your kick that doesn't get super squashed by the limiter when you go to master it, right? And so if you have your vocals kind of pumping with your kick as well, that is going to make sure that they're not going to get squashed when they're playing at the same time, right? You don't want that, because your vocals are really loud. Your vocals are a really loud element in your song, and if they're really loud and your kick is really loud and they're playing at the exact same time, it's going to squash your limiter. Your vocals are going to sound distorted. So I do recommend having a little bit of sidechain to your kick on your vocals as well. And then, even if you just do a little bit, that'll even it out. If you do a lot, that will almost emphasize some of the danciness and the pumpiness of the song. Sometimes I'm doing my track Open Up has complete duck. It's like woof, woof. And that is more of an effect than a mixing technique. So it's good to think about sidechain in both aspects. Is this a mixing technique, or is this an effect to emphasize some of the danceability of it? All right. That is pretty much the entire track of how I made Up All Night. Hopefully you guys learned a ton. I'd appreciate it if you did learn. Like and subscribe. That's all I got to say. Let me know in the comments what you'd like me to cover next, any topics you want covered, any songs of mine that you want me to open up the projects and break them down. I am an open book, and I need your suggestions. I'm going to be making tons of videos, so I want to see what you guys want. As always, you can join our High Octane Club Discord server, link in the description. You can check out the High Octane Tech House drum kit. Yeah, the High Octane drum kit. It's available at vibrancy-label.com. You can use the code DEMOBUDDY to save $5. All right. My name's Cloverdale. This has been my breakdown of Up All Night, out now on Thrive. Love you guys. We'll chat soon. Peace. Bye.